Okay, here's a case that I'd like to do a try-in. Obviously, he's edentulous on 8 and 9, but he's got a significant underbite, and tooth placement of 8 and 9 is going to be a challenge, not to mention implant placement. So, really, before I move forward, I'm uncertain as to where I want the teeth. So, I really want to get something to put in the mouth to help me understand what my concept is going to be. So let's go into Exocad and develop this case. Here is the setup. There's a lot of different ways to do things in Exocad. This is the way I would do a TTP setup. So I would call number 8 an anatomic ponic with virtual gingiva, yes. And if I click OK, I can control click on 9 to copy that over. Here, the scan mode is going to be 2 stone models in occlusion. Even though I'm starting this case with intraoral scans acquired through a CEREC Prime scan, we're still going to pick 2 stone models in occlusion. And the bite will come in as established by the scanner. Finally, click Save. And we'll go into design. Okay, so I loaded the scans and we're going to check orientation. This step is usually just a breeze through, but you know what Exocad is doing here is confirming that it understands the outside surface of your mesh versus the inside surface. Of course, it did pick correct, so we'll go next. We don't need the smile creator. And here we're going to develop the wax up bottom. Now this is going to be a new STL, a new mesh that's developed that has a little bit of relief, block out, etc., so that you can make a removable prosthesis. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of orientate how I want, and I want to try and develop some undercuts. This is going to be a TTP developed on the palette, so I need to establish some undercuts. So I'm going to click direct insertion from view, and you can see that my undercuts are kind of in here. The default bottom properties and block out undercut settings will be fine, but you know, developing a process is part of that is understanding how these fit your particular printer, and if you get something that's too tight, you come back and you start tweaking bottom properties. But in any case, I've got some undercuts here and here, and I'll click next. So here is the new STL. Exocad takes a little while to make this because it's a pretty heavy duty operation. But that is actually the mesh that our TTP is going to be made on. Okay, so we're going to place tooth models now. I almost always work in what's it called? I'm drawing a blank. Chain mode, and I'll kind of grab these distal discs. I'm not sure what they're called, but I call them distal discs, and kind of establish my distal contact. And then you know, this guy's got an interesting bite, so we'll see. Let's see what we can get out of it. I think I'm going to keep some semblance of either edge to edge or continue on with his underbite like he's got pretty much everywhere. If I click on symmetrical, it's going to jump on me for a second there, but just until I start to get a little contact there. Okay, a little bit of occlusion there. We can deal with that. And here's where we'll deal with that. In freeforming, we'll cut intersections. It'll give us a little divot there, but that's no big deal. Interproximal, we'll cut intersections there. It is going to do something wild here. Exocad still isn't smart enough to know the difference between a proximal contact and the rest of the cast, but that is actually not too bad. I'll show you why in a second here. So I'm going to put a real strong smooth on here. And then we'll need to do some ponic development here. Okay, looking good. Oops, actually I need to, oh yeah, it's going to give me a warning on the ponics here because I didn't do that. But we'll adapt to the gingiva at a cut of 0. All right, there we go. And we're going to go on to our gingiva next. So this is asking, do we want a single gingiva? Yeah, we're going to want a single part for the entire gingiva. Okay, so it's bringing back our blockout mesh and is asking us to lay down some points. So I'm just going to imagine a TTP. And now it's going to apply those. And we'll get our first look at what our gingiva is going to look like. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Tweaks can be applied at this point if we need some. Looks pretty good, and let's apply those. Okay, next. Now we're obviously we're going to get a free-forming step because we just developed a part. So I'm going to go to huge region and pull this way down to develop my papilla. And you know, I don't need to go crazy here. This is just going to be a try-in, but I will smooth it a little bit. And it's going to process the final. What it's doing is, even though you see this is the gingiva is way overdeveloped, it's going to subtract that from the wax up bottom that we made, and so this will all go away. And in the final part, which is about to come up, you will see that that has been subtracted, just like that. So we bring that up. You can see there's no overage. And there you go, a quick tutorial on Exocad making a TTP for a try-in. Looking at these, looking at this prosthesis in the mouth, pretty obvious that these were too short. I missed that in the design. It's pretty easy to do when you're staring at a screen, or when you see it in the mouth. A lot of stuff becomes obvious that you may have missed in CAD. So put it in, snapped right in. Really liked the fit, but his first take was that they were too short. He says he's not a smiler, but I don't care if he's a smiler or not. These are too short. The good news is it's real easy to deconstruct an Exocad and just lengthen these centrals up a little bit, and then we'll get a new print on. Okay, so yeah, this was tried in the mouth, and it just looked too short. kind of almost had a reverse curve of speed kind of look to it. So what we'll do is we'll deconstruct this in expert mode and lengthen these a little bit. So once it's deconstructed, I can click once, click twice to get both of them, and then going to go to freeforming. And I'll just grab entire tooth, occlusal only. Discuss with the patient some options, and we are going to do a little plasty on the bottom. To allow for some of this incisal length to show. What we'll do is we will actually make this prosthesis, and we'll actually use we'll use the prosthesis to help us adjust in the mouth. So okay, so with that, I'll just go ahead and remerge. And I'll print this again, take it to the mouth, use his occlusion against this TTP to help me adjust the interior, the lower incisors, and that'll help solidify this concept. Okay, so back to the printer. In my case, I'm using an Extent 5100. And if you look real close at the display, it's a fast machine. It's only going to take 15 minutes to create this part, and then double that for cleanup and curing. And back to the mouth, here you can see that the incisal edge length has been corrected. He's much happier with it, and I think this is a concept we can roll with.